Hey friends, so in this particular video, a short video, you will learn how you can make things center horizontally and vertically using just few lines of CSS or modern CSS. So the modern CSS the CSS has evolved greatly over the years, and you can now do cool things using pure CSS and without using any sort of polyfills or hacks like that. So in this particular video we will tackle this particular problem of centering things. So let's pop open a code pen over here. So I will define a div right here, and inside this div I will define a p tag, and this p tag will be, let's say, says hello world. Okay, so the task is to make this p tag center into this particular div, parent div. So at this moment we don't know how the div is being laid out in the HTML. So what we can do in order to see it is we can apply a class over it. Let's say container, and we will define a class in the CSS as well, container, and we'll just give a background color to it so that we can see how it is being laid out. Let's see, pink. So if you can tell, the div currently has taken the full width of the HTML page, but it doesn't have a height. So let's give it 1. So let's say its height, it's 200px. Now the div has a fixed height and a width. So now we can start proceeding making this div or p tag center into the parent element. So for that, first we will need to make this outer element or container as a flexbox, and we can do that by using display flex. Now what this will do is it will make this entire container as a flex container, and the children inside of it as its flex children. And you can actually essentially adjust or lay out these particular children inside the container flexibly. And now we can proceed making this p tag horizontally and vertically centered. And for that, what we can do is first we will use the align items property, and we will set it to center. Now if you can see this part, by using this particular property, the element inside this div container has been centered vertically. Now in order to make it center horizontally, we can use justify content to center. So if you can now notice that entire p tag is been centered horizontally and vertically. Now this is true for multiple children inside a container as well. So if we define one more p tag over here and says hello CSS. So you might be wondering now why the p tags are side by side to each other, whereas they should be on top of each other, because p tags are block elements. I can prove that by just removing this particular class from over here, and you will see they are on top of each other. But when we have this container and when we have made it a display or a flexbox container, they are now side by side. That is because when you make an element flexbox container, the children inside of this container will be of the flex direction. So we have flex direction, which essentially defines how the children inside the container are being laid out. So in this particular case, the children inside this layout has been laid as a row. So the flex direction of this particular children are currently as row. So that means these children are side by side to each other. Now in order to make this on top of each other, what we can do is we can use the flex direction property, and we can make set it to column. So now as you can see, the elements are on top of each other because we just set it to set flex direction to column. And that's it. That's how you can make things center using just 3 lines of CSS.